This will be used as a stumbling block, mark my words. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there's no authority except from God, and those that have existed have been instituted by God. And every church, because they don't seek the shepherd's wisdom, don't realize that, well, yes, God institutes them, but only because you demanded it. I mean, he's for 7,000 years has been looking for the nation. Where's the nation that is going to admit defeat and say, God, don't give us a king. Don't give us a government. God, we surrender to you, and we truly want to be the nation under you and you only. Well, where is that nation? I don't know. You know, Trump had said, I think it was less than a week ago, he had said, you know, America is really at a tipping point. We're not out of the woods. We're not. I mean, God's waiting. That's why when people want to care, like all these young people that have no wisdom, okay, and think so much, like the Gen Z and millennials at this point in time have already shown, like, that they're no different than every other generation. Every generation thinks they have all the answers, okay? It's the greatest trap in the world. You know, because you have the Nick Fuentes and this Dean Withers on the, I mean, this is just the same bullshit. So when Donald Trump said that we're at this tipping point, it's because we're not out of the woods yet. And so you could say, oh, they're Pam Bondi, all these people aren't doing anything. And it's like, well, maybe it's because God's waiting on you. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hypocritical to say we're one nation under God and then we have this big government system. But most of the churches, again, would go back to this stumbling block and say, but God institutes them, right? Because you wanted man to be your king. You can call it president. It's all the same thing. Before Israel demanded a king, they had a few prophets prophets and judges. And God, that was it. They didn't even have, as I said, a police force. But they allowed fear to get in the way and then wanted a human figure to make them feel safe. And ever since then, there's not been one nation that has ever dialed back and said, wait a minute, God, no, we want to be the nation that wants you to be our king. America, in this sense, is where that's an important part. Because the 1700 Protestants, that was the plan in their mind. And they made covenants when they got here for that. But like everything, human will gets in the way. So 1776 rolls around, we have this war and our freedom and our independence, and nobody realizing you don't have freedom. If you need a three-piece government like the Roman Republic, then really what you're saying is that you don't want God to be your king. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. Because this is man's kingdom and that's God's. So you have to decide. And forever, I think God has expectations of America, but at this point, I don't think that America's meeting those expectations just yet. And I think there's a lot of influencers and distractors that want to distract you on, who killed Charlie Kirk and who did this and who did that, and nobody realizing that, you're not going to have anything. You don't want God to pass over your nation, and the Erica Kirks, the Turning Points, all of them on the left and the right, they all do this so that, and I don't even think they realize what they're doing, but it's because they don't want you to truly surrender to God and say, God, we want to reverse the damage that mankind has done for 7,000 years from the time when Israel demanded a king, and there's been no nation since then, except we did start that way. But then, because we have the Enlightenment, people, and I have nothing against the founders. It's just, and God's so patient. But I mean, think about it. For 7,000 years, what's the one thing he's been looking for is why is it so hard for man and woman to realize that what has gotten you in trouble from the very start? Free will. So you can complain about parties and blame people and say it's, wicked and evil, but you've created the wicked, you've created the evil, you've wanted to live under it, and then you want to blame the God that instituted the government, except that God never wanted to institute a government at all. He wanted to be your king. But you chose to say, well, we can still sort of have him. We can do I'll serve Caesars and God on Sundays. And with America, God's thought, okay, I'll give some grace time here. And what if the church has done? Just become more corrupt. They just have become more ingrained, and we're all going to believe the same thing, and we're all just going to say it's about what the book says, but they don't seek the shepherd's voice, so they don't realize that when Paul said this, you don't want this. You don't want this. Because if God has to institute a government, it's because you lack faith and you don't want him to be king. Now, America can lie to itself. We started out with that vision, but it quickly became something else. So, given that what are we, an hour away, at least where I'm at, Central Time, from 2026, which is, the year of 200, it will be 250, America will be 250 years old. Maybe what the grand New Year's resolution everybody could make is that, God, we want you to be our king. And I'm not trying to tell people to, go to war with the government. That's not at all what my message is. My message is just, surrender to God and say, no, we want you as king. We want it the way Israel had it before they demanded a king. We don't want to divide our loyalties because we know you don't accept that. And since you've blessed our nation for so long and have protected us, we owe it to you. God said to the Church of Philadelphia, don't lose your crown. So when Donald Trump said, America's at a tipping point, make sure you tip it in the right direction. Which the best way to truly have success at this point is for as many as possible that see this and have ears to hear, say to God, we failed. We failed. We're defeated. We want you and only you to be king. I know the administration is against that word failure, but this is one area where when it comes to God, he wants you to give up, because that's true. Like the greatest thing he can hear is, I'm defeated, God. I'm a loser. Not because he keeps you a loser, but because then him and only him can truly build you into the person you're meant to be, and take you to your desires and dreams that even he knows better than you do what is for you. So even though, yes, America was a vision and the city on the hill, we have not shown that we're that. We've told ourselves that. And then we turned around and instituted the Roman Republic. Why? Well, because, again, not any maturity, not any trust. This takes full courage, and I think God knows that America has the courage to do this, some in America, to stop warring with him, and instead reverse what happened here and be the first nation to say, we want only God to be our king, and then do nothing except surrender to God and wait. That's the New Year's resolution.